Hey guys! Okay, so today I wanted to share with you this super long-lasting, touch-proof matte base. A lot of people have been asking me for a matte base recently, something I've been experimenting with, so that's what I'm gonna do. I've been prepping my skin recently using Kiehl's, the Ultra Rich, I think it's called the Ultra Rich face cream. I'm gonna link everything down below. So my primer of choice is the Urban Decay All Nighter primer currently. It's nice and hydrating. It really creates a grip for the skin. So something for your foundation to really like hold onto, all of your products to hold onto so that they last. Oh, I meant to mention the way I've been prepping my under eyes is not just the Kiehl's Ultra Rich, I think it's called Ultra Rich, whatever. I also use their eye cream. It's the green one. Okay. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the Lisa Eldridge Mist just because I was feeling like I needed a little extra, okay, get it together, hydration. So it's gonna depend on like your skin basically, but like sometimes you might have to build up a little bit more hydration. Auric Blush Ritual, everything will be linked down below. You know how it goes. I always get questions about this, whatever. You want to make sure that your skin is hydrated enough and it's got a little bit of a tacky feel. I've been using the Dior Show Backstage Foundation. I can't remember the shade. I'll link it down below. It's like a pretty yellow one. It's a little bit dark for my skin, but it's nice. This is gonna work for pretty much any foundation. So your foundation of choice, to be completely honest, like whatever you think works best. If you have very dewy skin and you wanna use something more matte, I'm not gonna tell you that you need to use like a particular foundation. In my opinion, the long wearability comes from like how you're applying. It's gonna come from our powder application and also it's basically gonna be the setting, which we will obviously get to later on. But there are some steps that you need to know about before we get into all of that. So I like to take my time building up my foundation. Okay, I'm not applying too much. You can see there's still like little freckles. I've got little like bits, you know, little like breakouts here and there. I'm not worried about completely concealing. I scratched myself. I don't know, in the middle of the night or something. I don't know where that came from. I'm gonna go in with my cream contour first. To be completely honest, I went a little heavy-handed with this. Just, you know, jawline contour, wanted it to be snatched, went a little too hard. This is a, I would say matte formula. It is not super creamy. Oh, Jesus, I just hit my foot. It's not wet. It's not wet in any way, okay? So you can build up this product a little too much if you're not careful. So just keep that in mind. If you have very oily skin, it's gonna be a good cream product for you because it's not very wet. But I really didn't need this much. I went in just a little too hard. I like to do the shaping of my face using not only creams, but also powders. That's also going to help to maintain wearability throughout the day. Usually light layers. I wouldn't call this a light layer. Okay, so maybe go a little lighter than what this girl was doing up in here. Maybe I should follow my own advice. I don't know. Anyway, we're just gonna build this up slowly, okay? We're creating shape to the face. Recently, I have been creating a lot of like the shapes, meaning my contour, my bronzer, you know, contouring my lips, all of that. Just going in and creating those like shadows and definition to the face before I do things like concealer. Kind of like working, if anyone here is a painter, working with my midtones first, going into my shadows, finishing off with my highlights. You know what the deal is, okay? Contouring the nose, whatever, you know, if you want to do it, and if not, whatever. This is the Merit bronzer. Can't remember the shade, it'll be linked. It's a beautiful bronzer for my skin tone. I will say it is a little bit on the dewy side, so if you tend to be a little bit more oily, you might not want to use it. However, the color is beautiful. I really love it. I think it's a nice formula, nice and hydrating, and plus I use it on the outer perimeter of my face, so it doesn't really matter. Again, it's all really going to come together when we go in with our powders and setting and all of that. So I'm just building up the warmth on my face. Not that I really needed that much because I went in with so much contour, but I'm okay. It's fine. We're going glam, all right? I wanted this to be glam touch-proof, okay? Wearable glam, full coverage, or like whatever, I guess my idea of full coverage. Sorry, I had a really bad headache. I don't know why this is in here. It's fine. I'm gonna color correct. LA Girl Pro Conceal. It's one of my faves. Super cheap, okay? Very good color correcting. Obviously you can see I have dark circles. If you're new, well, you can still probably see that I have dark circles. So I'm going to color correct underneath those to maximize coverage and also prevent a gray cast from my concealer. I like to blend this out with a brush just because it's more precise, and I want to make sure that this is staying only in the place that needs the color correction. Blah, 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 whatever, pat, 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 pat. I'm gonna go in with Rare Beauty. So I'm using two different concealers, 170W, and then I can't remember, I think the other one is 100W. Again, it'll be linked. This is 170W. This is the one that is like closest to my skin tone. It brightens, it conceals. It's a beautiful color. I decided to do a little bit of highlighting with 100, and you can see that I'm focusing in that in just two tiny little areas. Not a ton of concealer, as you can see, being intentional with the placement. It's not like the smallest amount in the entire world, but I'm being intentional. And I'm working from places that don't need as much coverage to the area that needs the most coverage because my sponge is going to be picking up some product. So I want to make sure that the most product is on the sponge when I go into those like areas that need more full coverage. That's just another random tip. Blend, 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 pounce, pounce, pounce. I haven't said that word in a really long time. That's such a throwback. Anyway, focusing that directly underneath my eyes, but not taking it all the way up to my lash line to prevent creasing. Okay, so take your time with this stuff. Like all of your creams, really take your time with it because then you can go in with your powders later on and do some like finishing touches. And if you just use powder, then skip all of this shit. Okay, move on, you're good. We're gonna get to that. And you can, yeah, minimize, you're minimizing. Here, I'm maximizing, and if you only use powder, then you can minimize. Blend, 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 you know what's going on. Blend, 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 it's still happening. Look at me blend. She's still blending. That's what the girl does, okay? She blends. Just waiting for her to stop. All right, to set my under eyes, I've been recently mixing the e.l.f. Halo Glow with this Huda Beauty powder. I'm experimenting a little bit, so I'll keep you posted on that, but I thought it looked pretty decent, maybe a little bit dry. These do really, really, really set. If you have like much more mature skin, you might want to just use the e.l.f. Halo Glow. I've heard from a lot of you that you love it, so keep it up. If you're mature, you have mature skin, or if you just like powders end up being like a little bit too powdery for you under your eyes, e.l.f. Halo Glow is great, so good. And I'm really just focusing this underneath my eyes. Doing a little bit of spot concealing. That's why I left, some of those little bits, not going in with like way too much foundation. I'll link this stuff down below. I have a detailed video about this that I will pop up in the corner if you want to watch that later on. If you click it, it'll open in a separate tab, just so you know. So for the rest of my face, I'm going to be setting with the Givenchy Prism Libre. All right, French, I have to get into my French mode. Givenchy Prism Libre. I always want to roll my R. I'm actually using a tiny bit of that mixture, the e.l.f. Halo Glow and Huda Beauty right now, just in the like highlighted areas of my face, because I wanted it a little bit more brightening. So now I'm gonna move on to Givenchy, and using my Sigma F67 brush, I'm basically going to place this everywhere. This is not a typical thing that I do, but when I want like super full coverage and I want matte, and I want it to last and be touch proof, I'm touching everywhere. So I'm being very intentional with my placement. I'm not going in with a ton of powder in one area, okay? I took my time. I really took my time, making sure that I was being like even with my application. And I also did some baking here because I wanted it to be glam, all right? This isn't something I do all the time, but especially if I'm going to an event, which I was, sometimes I like to do it, you know what I mean? And I will not leave the powder down for a long time, especially if it's underneath my eyes. I'll place it down and immediately blend it away. Now come the powders. So I'm going to build up this definition of my face using the powder. This is something that I do all the time, even when I'm not doing like a matte, like a super matte look, or even if I'm not like desperately trying to make it full coverage. Long wear, but this like on its own is going to help your makeup last longer. It also helps to create like a lot more definition by layering the creams and the powders. You're just kind of like reinforcing those products. I'm reinforcing my contour now with this Etude palette. So kind of going in the reverse, like I started with my contour, then I went on to my bronzer with the creams. Now I'm going kind of like in the reverse. I start with my bronzer. Not that it matters, you can do what you want, but basically just like applying light layers. And they really, when you apply the powder, it glides. It glides over that Givenchy powder. I'm switching. I don't know why I showed you that. I think because I'm using it for my blush later. And then I'm doing a little bit extra spot concealing. When you need to spot conceal, you don't worry about putting a little bit of cream on top of powder because you're just doing like tiny little bits. Now I'm going in with the Sex Appeal blush from NARS, powder again. I decided to not use any cream blush, just powder blush this time around. And I'm just dusting that obviously from the apples of my cheeks and up to my cheekbone. Just want to make sure that that is all blended. And it glided so nicely over this matte base that we had. I decided that I wanted to like kind of do a little bit of a mixture. So this ColourPop blush, I think it's Flamingo, I decided to mix. The other one was just looking a little bit too like peachy and I didn't want it to be fully peach. So I decided to mix them, whatever. Not necessary, but it's a thing. To finish off, I'm gonna be using this luminizer in, is it Pink Quartz? I can't remember what it's called. It's from Sephora. To highlight the top, all of the high points of the face, so tops of the cheekbones, a little bit on the temples. I took this pretty much everywhere, to be honest, because like I want a matte base, but I also want my face to look like healthy and glowing. So we're not trying to look like completely dead, right? So I'm hitting the tip of the chin, Cupid's bow. I'm gonna do the tip of the nose, a little bit down the bridge of my nose. I wanna make sure that I'm bringing a little bit of life back to the face, but it's powder, so it's gonna be sitting on the face, especially after we go in with the all-nighter spray. I've got my fan ready to go. I really, really drench my face in this, and then I will not open my eyes or move my face until it's completely dry. And obviously I've got the Patrick Ta fan to like really, really make sure that it's, you know, drying faster. Because if you're just sitting there, sometimes if you try to use your hands, you smack yourself in the face. I've done it a million times. So this is the finished look. It looks very like natural, but not like too heavy. You can still see little bits. Like I didn't over conceal. However, I did want to get that little spot. So always remember to kind of like step back and take a look, because sometimes when you're super close up, you can miss things. But yeah, this ended up being such a beautiful, just like matte base. I can touch my skin, nothing is coming off. I can like rest my hand on my face and it's not gonna smudge my makeup. So I hope that this was helpful for all of you who have been wanting a matte base. This is the one that I've been wearing recently. Let me know, dude. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.